You gotta move quick. Come on. Run. Come on. Come on.
Wolfman. Yes, this is directed by Leigh Whannell, the same person who co-wrote the Saw films with James Wan, and he also did The Invisible Man, the movie that no one saw in 2020. And
I definitely saw it. I loved it.
I saw it. I liked it too. But I gotta say, there is a better Wolfman film, and that is Michael Jackson's Thriller. Thank you, Michael.
Thriller. Okay. That's funny.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, I did not hate this film, to be honest with you. I'm like mixed on it. I didn't hate the film. I think I'm more positive than negative. But I think this film is like a victim of like 1,000 small cuts. Like, this movie makes 1,000 little bitty bad decisions, which I totally understand the decision, but it makes a lot of these small decisions and somehow they added up wrong. Now, let's start with the good stuff. I think it was wise of them to make the Wolfman completely practical. There's no CGI with the Wolfman. That's cool. Ding. On paper, okay, check. And then it's like, now they take a small moment just when the man transforms and make that the entire film. It's like, I could see that. I could see that. It's like, okay, check. Wolfman as a body horror film? Okay. I see what we're doing. Check. And yet all of this adds up to boring. Nothing happens in this film. He gets scratched in a way that I'm not even really 100% sure exactly how he got scratched. Right? But he gets scratched and he spends the whole movie, or I should say this family spends the whole movie reckoning with the father transforming. Now, the movie starts off in a flashback. So his father's some military guy. He's obsessed with catching this wolf. Why he's bringing his small child along, I don't know. But again, I get it for the story. All right, it makes sense once you have all the story in your head. You're like, oh, I see. This film is about generational trauma. I see why the kid had to come along. I get it. You got to pass down your own family curse. Okay, I get it. But the logistics don't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. So this is like one of those movies that I think on paper is great. I think this is a really good film on paper. But unfortunately, just like they say with football, we don't play the game on paper, okay? We play it on the field. The little boy, he grows up and he's like, my dad's dead. He's been missing in the woods for a gajillion fucking years. Where is he? You, the audience, we're like, oh, he's a wolf, right? So we're like, exactly. Oh, okay.
We know this as the audience.
As soon as they say that, my father's been missing in those same woods. You're like, okay, got it. All right.
That the same woods where I was aiming down a barrel when I was a kid. And I saw a wolf.
A wolf. Or maybe a man. Maybe a wolf. Man, it's like, all right, I get it, So we all know what's happening, right? Our main character and his wife, they're on the outs. They're not doing so great. And he's like, you know what? Just to help out our relationship, let's go to the woods where I had the worst time of my fucking life, where I almost got murdered with my father. This will definitely fix our relationship. Why would that fix the relationship? But then they show up in a freaking U-Haul. And so I'm like, are they moving into the woods? Is this a vacation? Or are they moving?
He said they got to pick up stuff from the house. They got to take stuff and clear stuff out of the house. Right. For what reason? Right. With the house being sold
that's what
or
I'm saying,
anything like that.
It feels like they originally wrote this as they're moving into the house and they changed it later. There's even a scene where a character's like, how long are you staying? And one person says, not long. The other person says, long time. So I'm like, okay, I get it that they're not on the same page, but like for the audience, for me, how long are you staying? I want to know. Yeah, they go and they have a car crash, and the U-Haul crashes into like inside the top of a tree.
Inside the
Okay, okay. So they're in the tree, and now there's a werewolf running around, and they're in his father's house, and they've got to protect themselves from this werewolf. And this movie treats it like it's the biggest twist on earth when we realize that the Wolfman is the dad. And I'm like, what? Who else could it be? He's like looking at his arm and recognizing the tattoo, then looking up at his wall. I'm like,
it's father's tattoo. Yeah.
And the music's like, doo, and I'm like, we know. Come on
already. Come on.
You know what I mean? The second that they saw the Wolfman in the street, the dad should have been like, that was my father. I would recognize my father anywhere. That way we don't have to pretend like this is some big twist. We can just throw that behind us and be done with it.
It's like, father. Run him down.
Hey, that would have been more interesting. Honestly, legit. What if he did see the Wolfman and it really was his father and he recognized him and he was like, hell no. Hits the gas. And that's what starts them running into the trees and the whole thing. And now dad's attacking them. Like, that would actually make some sense. Because why was the Wolfman attacking his own flesh and blood? Is it a house thing? Is it because he lives at that house? Does he just hang around the house? I don't know. The movie does not even attempt to answer any of these questions. And by the time the credits roll, you won't give a damn.
When he gets scratched, they think it's like a regular scratch. They put peroxide on it. Right. Just bundle it up and everything. Then when things started, going crazy with him, they start sweating and stuff. You see like blood dripping down his hand and they have to unwrap it again. And it just got worse. Like it was corroding in his skin.
Right.
He got up like a dog that itches for fleas and he started biting at like fleas. I'm like, oh, okay.
Biting into the wound.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's the decisions in this film. Okay. He's got 2 scenes where he's biting at one of his own limbs. Why? We only really need one, man. You know what I mean? So once we establish he's biting his arm, right? I'm like, all right, I get it. Now he's got a taste for human blood. Okay, I see. But then later he gets his foot caught into a bear trap and then he picks up his foot and it's like, and is biting on it. That got the biggest laugh out of my theater.
It did?
Aaron was like, that was the biggest laugh. And then when he got out, he was able to like do like the little wolf run. Well, no problem. It's like he crawled for 1 minute and I was like, oh, he's gonna crawl the whole film? Nope, he did the little wolf run. If they skipped a fucking sequence where a main character loses his leg, if they were to skip it, nothing changes in the film. And then they made another big mistake, and that's making the Wolfman our main character until they realized that was a bad idea and be like, oh, never mind. And then they switched, we switched main characters. So, like the movie's a bit of a mess. But the ideas are there, the pieces are there, but it does not come together.
If it was just one opposition that was against the family, that was trying to harm the family, and they have to figure out how they're going to get out of this, that would have made it a lot more interesting.
And from my understand, my bad, dude. But from my understand, the director, he was inspired to make this film because he saw The Fly, and he was like, that's a great way to show the transformation. And he's totally right. Like, The Fly is great. But you know what he missed? At least I'm assuming he missed. The main character of The Fly is not Jeff Goldblum. Okay, it's Gina Davis. Okay, Gina Davis. We're watching the movie through her eyes, right? And instead, they decided to make the movie about the guy transforming. But once it gets past a certain point, he's more animal than man, and he's not a good main character anymore. You can feel the movie just change gears violently. I'm like, oh, okay.
During the transformation, you see there's certain senses change.
The movie switches its point of view from the Wolfman's point of view, so we can hear what he hears and we can see what he sees.
Yeah, hear what he hears and see what he sees. And I thought that was done very well. The camera movement was done very well. Because there is a point where he's in here, he's hearing like all these studs and stuff. He's like, what is these studs coming around in this house? It's not the Wolfman outside. He creeps around the house and all of a sudden he sees somewhere deep in the closet upstairs, it's the actual spider, and he heard it way across the other side. He heard the spider's
footsteps. Right.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my God, there's someone in the house. Oh, who is it? Who's in the house? And he goes in the closet and it's just a spider. And he's like, holy shit. Great sequence.
That was the really good sequence to see the juxtaposition between she can't hear or understand what he's saying because he's sounding a lot more like an animal, and he can't understand what she's saying because he's like an animal, can't understand English. You know, it's like, okay, a dog is not going to understand what a human says all the time. They're just going to understand like, you know, cues and positioning. So,
but I will say this, when the movie started and we're in the flashback, and it's this little boy following his very tense, very militaristic father around the woods. I liked that. I was like, I like the vibe we got going on here. I like, because I understand why this kid is afraid. He's not sure if he should be afraid of this animal or if he should be afraid of his father. Like, that's great. And then, of course, when his father becomes the animal, I'm like, I see, you know. So again, like the pieces are here. I think the tone is here. I think our director, forgive me, I can't pronounce his last name, but Lee is his first name, the director. I think he did a good job directing this film. I think we've got pretty good actors. It's like, it just did not set. And I'll be honest, it felt like scenes were missing. There's a moment where, like I said, where the film switches from the wolfman's point of view to his wife's point of view. And it feels like there's a scene missing, because as soon as that happens, suddenly the wife has a lot more dialogue in that scene, and she's catching the audience up. She's like, daddy can't speak right now, and I don't know where he is, and I'm real nervous. I'm like, he can't speak? When did that, you know what I'm saying? When did that happen?
Exactly.
And it feels like I missed something, like a scene was missing, and she's like turning to the camera and filling you in, you know?
He was putting up this ottoman next to the door to try and protect it, and he was talking to his daughter by saying, go ahead and lay back down and go to sleep, but she wasn't moving. As if she was still confused. And then the mother in the back, she was just looking like, what the heck? Where he was speaking like English, but to them,
that scene makes sense in hindsight. But when it's happening, it comes off really funny, like unintentionally funny. He's like nailing some stuff on the floor, not on the wall, but on the floor. And I'm like, okay, fine, I get it. The door swings, I get it, right? And he's like, go lay down. I'll be done in a second. And the daughter's like, and I'm like, does she not hear him, or hello? You know, it comes across really funny, you know? It's like, I had a couple of chuckles in my audience with that scene. And again, it's because they never explained what that was until after the fact. And you're like, oh, I see. But you've already got the laugh out, right? There's another moment of unintentional comedy where the wolfman, he's been fighting his father out in the woods. He comes in, they let him back in the house, you know. It's very clear based on his performance that he realizes he can't stay with his family. And he's like, damn, I guess I better go back into the woods. And right then I'm thinking it'd be fucking hilarious if the wolfman busted that door right now. And that's exactly what happened. He busted the door. Yeah. I laughed unintentionally. I almost never unintentionally laugh, dude. Almost never. But I was like, oh shit, that was not supposed to be funny.
It's like, didn't you have a fight?
Yeah, exactly. We couldn't see the fight. And again, that's my other issue. I could tell that the movie knew its design was bad, because they were obscuring the wolfman for the bulk of the runtime. You don't really get a good look at the wolfman until probably 2/3 or more of the way into the film. And even at the end of the film, I'm like, is he done transforming? Because he still just looks like a nasty dude. And they've established that it's some sort of a medical issue, that he's got some sort of a disease. It's the disease that's turning him into the wolfman. But if it's a disease, you know, you really can't take it all the way, right? You can't go straight supernatural with it, right? So he just looks like a lumpy man. It comes across kind of silly, and his hair is thinning, so he's got like a thin strands of hair on top of his head. It's just so
hair
unfortunate.
grows on his back and his chest, like a animal.
Like a wolf.
So you know, the scene when Winnell did The Invisible Man, he actually changed some stuff up. You know,
but I'm saying he changed a lot here. Like, he changed a lot. Like, it's the whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just that 1 second in the film. Like, I've never seen The Wolfman, but from what I understand, that's like a sequence in the film. And this whole film is one sequence in the original. So that's pretty clever, I think. And then making it body horror, again, on paper, I think this is all good. The more I talk about it, frankly, the more I like it, right? But my experience watching the film is bored. I'm like, this is not coming together. And I think it's because it feels like there's a tension in the film, right? There's this body horror aspect of the film, but then I could tell that the producers or someone just wants to get to the action, right? They're like, go, 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 go. So the reason why they get to the action, right, is never clear. We're never sure why we're here. We're never really sure what they're doing, but what they're doing looks cool. You know, like, okay, you know, a big truck stuck in a tree, that looks cool. But how'd they get in the tree? And it just seems like, you're like, all right, I guess it flew off a cliff. All right, why they got a big truck? So they're taking stuff out of the house to go home. Okay, you know, so everything's kind of like, it's like you've got a really good outfit. It's just like not ironed. It's a mess, right? We have a mess. Yeah, super wrinkly, or it's like a pie or a cake you put in the oven and you took it out too early and it collapsed, right? Like, all the pieces are here. I think the mom is a great actress. She's one of the best working actors right now. Yeah, she's fantastic. And it would be a genius film to focus the film on her. But they don't. Right? They focus on the other guy.
I know,
so
You should have
got the right cast.
Like Gina Davis was the focus in the Fly. You know, and kick this kid out. You know, Meredith Face.
Yeah, we don't need the kid.
Kick Meredith first out.
I get it. Well, we got the kid, right? It's a generational thing, right? The movie starts with the little boy standing with his dad, looking at the valley, and it ends with a little girl standing with the mom, looking at the valley. So, like, I totally get it.
Do you know what I'm thinking?
Oh yeah,
it's such a stupid line.
It's really funny. That was fine. I'm like, it's fine. My issue is I didn't feel strongly about the film. I feel like if I hated the film, that would be great. If I loved it, that would be great. But I kind of left it, you know, thinking like, all right, well, guess I'm ready to go watch the football game tonight. You know, I didn't really think about it. It was just like, that was it. Beginning, middle, end, we're done. Okay.
And then when they got to that little deer hut thing, just like it was when he was a kid and his father, where, you know, his wife and his daughter went up in there, and all of a sudden you see his head pop up there on the side. She points the gun at him, and then the daughter again, she knows exactly, because she knows what he's thinking. He wants it to be over, Mom.
Right. They're playing this game where the little girl pretends to be a psychic, trying to read the dad's mind, but the answer is always, I love you, right? I get it. It's a cute little moment. I get it. It happens in every film. It's going to happen in the next movie you watch. At that moment, she actually does understand what her father is thinking. So is this just her basic logic, or are they trying to insinuate something? I don't know. And at this point, I didn't give a damn. I'm like, shoot this motherfucker so we end this movie, y'all.
Exactly.
I think there's nothing wrong with the ideas in this film. The practical effects, the generational trauma, the whole thing, there's nothing wrong. But I feel like they bailed on the generational trauma at moments in the film just so we can have a pretty girl run from a monster throughout the film, right? One thing that keeps you the audience, from really being invested is we understand what a werewolf is, and we understand what the werewolf rules are, right? What are his rules? Does he change every full moon? I don't know. They didn't really talk about that.
True.
He got shot by a bullet. Is he dead? Because I thought they needed silver bullets for this.
Silver bullets.
Is it? Does a wolfman have special rules? How do you kill him? But at no point they never really talk about this. So is it really just like a disease? And if it's a disease, how does it give him like the athletic ability? I don't know. Like the rules in the film don't make any sense. I wanted to like this film. I want to like every film, but I need something. I need something to get a finger hold. Okay, give me a finger hold somewhere. All right, and I will like your film. But the film gives you nothing. It plays things very safe. It plays things very small because it's a very small film. The whole thing takes place in one building. And ultimately it all adds up to being a very okay film. A perfectly okay film. If it came out on Netflix, everyone would love this film. But because it's in the theater, it's just like, this is unacceptable.
Yeah. I think you know, the producers and distributors need to think about that next time.
Yes.
You know.
And remember, Invisible Man came out on streaming first, okay?
Yes, it did.
Streaming first. This would have been a better film on Netflix, and it also would have been a better film with some rewrites. So like some smoothing out some stuff, you know. Great ideas, bad execution.
Well, thank you, Leigh Whannell, for giving us something that I'm not going to remember.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
That's how we feel about this film. More importantly, how do you feel about this film? Get in the comments and let us know what you thought about Wolfman. He didn't even howl.
No, he didn't howl.
Thank you so much for clicking on this video. You guys are talking to us in the comments, but if it's your first time seeing us and you want to see more of us, hit that subscribe button right at the bottom. It's right there. It's super free. It's super free. And if you did like our review for this film, please hit that thumbs up, all right? Or you can hit that thumbs down. Whichever you choose is your opinion, but just remember one thing, it is mostly wrong. We'll see you in another movie review.